Are you aware that the traumas you experience in your childhood contributes to diseases? In this video, I am going to break down the effects of childhood trauma. This is on physical as well as an emotional level, as well as how childhood trauma affects us in relationships. Hi, I am Kanu. I'm a neurotransformational coach. I work one-on-one with others to help them overcome limiting beliefs, as well as the negative effects of experiences and events. I am also a military vet. I served in the army for a decade and a half. So, shall we proceed with today's video? Now, what is childhood trauma? Childhood trauma is also known as adverse childhood experiences. These are the experiences that are either scary, shocking, or dangerous. And you're probably saying to yourself, these are normal experiences that every individual has. However, what makes these experiences different is the lasting negative effects that it has on an individual on a spiritual, emotional, psychological, and physical level. And this can be as a result of sexual, physical, or emotional abuse. It can also be as a result of natural disasters, an accident, or the loss of a loved one. Now, how do these experiences in childhood affect you as an adult? Persons who experience childhood trauma may suffer from PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. This is the reliving of that traumatic experience or event through flashbacks, vivid nightmares, or reoccurring memories. They may also have physical reactions such as sweating, anxiety, or panic attacks. Persons may also constantly experience negative feelings such as anger, fear, or guilt. Some individuals may even develop a sense of numbness, which can prevent them from expressing as well as experiencing feelings and emotions. There's also the possibility of someone always being on edge, or as we may say, hypervigilant. And that is because the body and mind are reacting to a threat from the past. Now, let's look at how some persons deal with trauma from their childhood. Hey, friend, I want to take this moment to honor your decision to consume content that can improve your life. I know that you can be anywhere, but you chose to be here. And for that, I appreciate you. And if I knew you, I know that you are someone who has dreams and goals that you want to achieve. But life experiences seem to get in the way. Maybe it's childhood trauma or limiting beliefs. If that is the case, I want to extend an invitation to you. Let's have a one-on-one consultation and let's see if neurotransformational coaching is a fit for you. If it isn't, then I honor your journey and I support you. If it is, then send me an email at purposedevelopmentacademy@gmail.com. It would be an honor to be the guide at your side as you pursue your dreams, your goals, and your desires and live a fulfilling and impactful life. I look forward to meeting you. Now let's get back to today's video. Individuals may repress their traumas. That is, they keep it locked inside and they avoid dealing with it. They avoid dealing with the pain that is associated with that traumatic experience. And this is sometimes done consciously and in some other instances unconsciously. However, repressed trauma never goes away. It remains there and it festers and grows and it may come to the surface unexpectedly. And when it does, the individual may be unable to control it. And that is why you may hear stories of someone snapped. They may have lived a perfect life and then something occurred and they snapped. They just exploded. There is a possibility that this person may have experienced childhood trauma and they repress the emotions and the feelings that they would have had for so long until until that moment where they cracked and exploded. However, if that doesn't occur, the individual's brain remains in survivor mode. They are always looking over their shoulder for a possible threat. And how can someone truly enjoy life if they are constantly in that survivor mode? They are always stressed out. Being in survivor mode prevents you from truly experiencing and living a fulfilling life. Now let's look at how childhood trauma affects you on a physical level. Childhood trauma often affects the development of an individual's immune system. And this leaves that individual open to diseases later on in life. It also affects the development of the central nervous system. The central nervous system is made up of the brain, the spine, the retina in the eyes, and the network of nerves that runs through an individual's body. When this is affected, it may result in the loss of sight, the loss of memory, poor muscles, as well as poor coordination. However, childhood trauma also contributes significantly to strokes, cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, as well as obesity. And that is often as a result of the stress that the person endured due to that traumatic event or experience. You see, stress is good in the short term. It helps us to survive a possible threat. But over an extended period of time, it affects the immune system and causes it to lose its capability to protect the human body. Now let's look at the mental effect of childhood trauma on an adult. An individual who has experienced childhood trauma may find it difficult to control their anger. And this could possibly result in them getting involved in dangerous or violent situations. There's also an increase in depression and other mental health illnesses, such as schizophrenia or bipolar. As a result of the central nervous system being affected, persons may experience memory loss. Individuals may have memory gaps. There are persons who are unable to recall certain things beyond a particular age in their childhood. These are things that they should remember because of their age at that point in time. Now let's look at how childhood trauma affects us in relationships. Persons who experience childhood trauma may find it difficult to trust others. If a child experiences physical, sexual, or emotional abuse, they may become distrustful of the adults in their life. Children are generally trustful, and if a child experiences an event that causes them to distrust the adults in their life, they may grow into adults having a distrust for others. There's also the possibility of an individual being defensive in a relationship. They may find themselves physically and emotionally distant. They avoid getting close to someone for fear that they may be violated once again. Persons who have experienced childhood trauma may also find themselves getting involved in high-risk behaviors, such as fast driving, unsafe sex, self-harm, indulging in excessive alcohol or recreational drugs. And these may be as a result of the individual having low self-esteem. However, there is hope. Now, let's look at some strategies that you can utilize to begin healing your childhood trauma. The first step in that process is to avoid alcohol and drugs. Alcohol and drugs may be quite tempting because they seem to provide a temporary relief from the pain that you may experience as a result of your childhood trauma. However, they contribute to that childhood trauma becoming even more repressed as well as more difficult to be addressed. You can also begin a fitness regime. Seek to get active. Exercise helps to produce chemicals such as dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin that are all helpful in addressing the negative effects of childhood trauma. You may also want to look at developing a meditation or mindfulness practice. These mental practices helps an individual to better control their thoughts, which helps them to reduce reliving that traumatic event or experience. You can also look at getting involved in something that is creative, such as cooking, dancing, singing, writing, drawing. Creative expressions help to build our self-esteem, as well as they help us to focus on the productive aspects of ourselves, especially if these creative expressions are used for the benefit of others. And finally, if you still have challenges after implementing these strategies, my suggestion is to seek help. Seek help from a mental health professional, such as a therapist, who can help you unpack that childhood trauma, or a coach who is trained in helping you move past the effects of these limiting experiences. Now that we are about to land the plane, let's take a look back at what we have covered thus far. Childhood trauma is as a result of scary, shocking, or dangerous experiences that has a lasting effect on an individual. It can cause an individual to experience PTSD even into adulthood, where they relive these traumatic experiences and they have vivid nightmares. It can also affect you on a physical level as it contributes to diseases such as diabetes, cancer, stroke, and cardiovascular diseases. On a mental level, it may cause an individual to have uncontrollable anger, or it can increase their chances of experiencing depression or any other mental illness, such as schizophrenia or bipolar. Childhood trauma also affects our relationships, causing persons to feel numb or a sense of defensiveness and an unwillingness to get close to others physically or emotionally. However, there is hope. You can start healing your childhood trauma by avoiding alcohol and drugs, getting active, developing a fitness regime, seeking mental exercises, meditation, or mindfulness, or seeking help from a mental health professional, such as a therapist or a coach. It is important to note that childhood trauma does not go away. It remains in us, it remains in our system. And even if we repress it, it continues to grow and fester, and it can come to the surface. And when it does, it may be unexpectedly, as well as we may be unable to control it. So the best approach is to take these steps to begin that healing process of your childhood trauma. I hope that you find this video informative. And if you did, you will certainly find this video on belief systems just as beneficial.